the full title of the work is Rooted: First Steps for New Christ Followers. And it's really less of a book and more of a study. It's a 10-session course in discipleship basics. In fact, that's where we start, is, disciple. What is that? What does that even mean? And as a disciple, what has happened to me? So once we have disciple defined, then we hone our focus in very, very tightly on a single verse, and that's Acts 2:42. Yes, Acts 2 is where we see the very first Christians, the very first believers. I mean, we're talking day one of the church. And so it just made sense to me that whatever was important to those day one believers really should be important to us as well. So if we look at the first believers as our model, we are told that they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Or quite literally, it says the prayers. So this is where we put the core of this 10-session course. Even though the core of the study we just talked about comes from Acts 2:42, I pulled that title from Colossians chapter 2, verse 6 and 7. It says, so then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live in Him, rooted and built up in Him, strengthening the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. Is there a need for it? Well, yes, absolutely. I believe there is. I mean, this is the product or the outgrowth of years of frustration for me. And I guess I kind of need to go into the Wayback Machine here to explain that. So I was a senior at Baker University in Kansas. And during that time, I met a young man, not much older than I was actually at that time. And he studied with me, and he taught me, and he patiently prayed for me. And eventually, the light came on, and on January 16th, 1983, I surrendered, and I submitted to King Jesus. But, and here's the key, is that this actually gets back to your question. That wasn't the end. This man, Todd, and another young man, a friend of his, Smokey, they became very dear friends of mine. And I thought that that's all it was. But the truth is, they were investing in me. They invested time and teaching and prayer and guidance. They were discipling me, and I didn't even know it. Now here's the point. What I have witnessed for the past 40 plus years is men and women of all ages coming to that same point where I was in January of '83. And they've reached that point of understanding and belief. They've made a decision, and we rejoice over that decision. We applaud them, and we tell them, I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad you're here. And then we plant them on a pew, or we plant them on a chair, and we say, it's good to have you here. I sure hope you grow. And I have reached a point of conviction in my life, in my walk with Jesus, that it is spiritually criminal to do that to a person. The entirety now of their spiritual education is what they're going to be hearing from some pastor on Sunday mornings. And that's assuming that they go. So this idea has been marinating in the back of my mind for years. And finally, about 6 months ago, I said, just put your big boy pants on and get it done. Well, as writers, we're taught, you have a target audience, and you're aiming for that target, because if you aim for everybody, you're going to hit nobody. And so you hone that target down. knowing that as you write for that target individual, you're going to get other folks as well. So yes, the target is new and young Christ followers. But I mean, really, it's for anyone who wants to firm up their foundation of their faith life. And in fact, there's one gentleman has become a dear friend online. He's a pastor of a church, and he said, I want to take my whole church through this. One of the pastors at my own home congregation has asked me to teach a class based on this book. And some of this material I submitted to my online review group. You know, these are folks who have been Christ followers for decades, and more than once, as we review each other's material and give feedback, and more than once I heard, "Oh, I didn't know that." And so we can't make assumptions really about anyone and where they are in their walk and what they understand in their walk. But the target audience is new believers. Well, it can be, yeah. I mean, I had individuals in mind when I originally wrote it, and an individual can go through this alone, and if they are a reflective type of person, they'll find value in it. You know, but you could include it like in a new members packet for your church. This is who we are. This is what we're about as a gathering of believers. But I do believe now, having completed the work, that the greatest value will be found in groups of 5 to 8 people who go through this together, and they share together and they reflect together. Maybe a new believers class that goes once a quarter. Well, it's on Amazon, and if you go to Amazon, at that search field at the top, just type in "Rooted First Steps," and you'll find it. It'll be the first hit in your results list. It's also linked with on the books page from my website, damonjgray.org.